The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 45% off with minimum purchase, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Sunday morning, I understand Albany has passed a bill. And with us today is Senator George Borrello from Chautauqua County. And Senator Borrello, what does the bill say?
Well, John, we have a $268 billion budget, another record-breaking budget here in New York State. And it passed, of course, in the middle of the night like it always does. And without knowing everything that's in this budget, I can tell you one thing. Taxes are going up, and the services to the people of New York State aren't going to get any better as a result. And that's really the problem here. You know, if spending more money made New York more affordable, then we should be the most affordable state in the nation. But we are not. And also, Medicaid, another huge problem. It continues to grow. It's up 89%, which is an unbelievable number. On top of that, we still have fraud, waste, and abuse that's going unchecked. My Republican colleagues and I, we introduced an amendment to call for an independent audit of the entire state budget, but Medicaid in particular, where we see this continued waste, fraud, and abuse that's been pointed out by the state comptroller, a fellow Democrat, by the way, of the party in charge. We've seen it pointed out by good government groups like the Empire Center. And yet, despite that, every single Democrat in the New York State Senate voted no for an independent audit. Yet we know that there are tens of billions of dollars in that program. It is now almost half of New York State's budget. $125 billion with a B is the cost, is the price tag for this upcoming year for Medicaid. And no one wants to find out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is. And that is probably the most egregious thing, in my opinion.
I mean, I can't believe this is happening in our state. Where's the checks and balances, Senator?
Well, that's the problem. When you have one party ruling everything, there are no checks and balances. You know, and this is what we've seen. These things get shoved through here in New York State. And again, my Democrat colleagues and Governor Hochul, they've never met a tax they didn't like. As you know, we have this new pied-à-terre tax, which is going to hit New York City now, which is going to raise property taxes for people, starting as little as an assessed value of $1 million. That's not a wealthy person, okay? That's not the one percenters. This is someone who maybe has a home in New York City and also has another residence somewhere else. Maybe they go back and forth for work, and because it's not their primary residence, they could be paying tens of thousands of dollars of additional property taxes every year because of this pied-à-terre tax. And for what? To fund the socialist mayor's agenda. He's not learned to tighten his belt. He's not done anything really to address the fiscal crisis. Instead, we're just going to tax more and get more bailouts from state taxpayers.
Now, it only affects the people in New York City, the 5 boroughs, or it affects the whole state?
Well, it's for people it's for properties in the 5 boroughs that will see this pied-à-terre tax, and these could be people that live in New York State. There are other places that have tried similar things where they tax out-of-state residents, people that don't live here and pay taxes. But if your primary residence is on Long Island or in Westchester County or Buffalo or wherever it might be, and you also happen to own a property, a condo, an apartment, a home in the 5 boroughs that that is not your primary residence, you're going to pay this pied-à-terre tax. And as I said, on a condo, a dwelling like that, on values as little as $1 million. And I know New York City, $1 million doesn't buy you much. So this is going to impact a lot of people.
All I could say is, wow. Anything else, any other items in there that really annoyed you?
Well, I will say there's some good things. We were able to get some victories on the terrible climate agenda that has been costing New Yorkers so much. A 5-year delay in the electric school bus mandate, which has just caused an unbelievable amount of problems and consternation with our school districts. They've rolled back some of the requirements of this the Climate Leadership Act, which is going to require all electrification and starting in the next few years. It was going to make it impossible and too expensive, quite frankly, for people to be able to maintain reliable forms of energy like natural gas. So we are declaring victory in that sense. But again, these are things that are happening in an election year when Governor Hochul and her Democrat colleagues are trying to get reelected, no matter how much harm they have done to our economy and our quality of life and public safety. And so as a result, once the election's over, if they are still in power, this is basically all just written on an Etch-a-Sketch, folks. They can shake up that Etch-a-Sketch and start over again and reinstate all of those harmful mandates and taxes. So I would tell you, be smart. The only real solution here is a change in leadership. We need responsible, common sense leadership in Albany, and we need to restore balance to our state government. And that means voting differently than you did before.
Well, Senator Borrello, I mean, I wish you made me feel better, but you don't. Let's see how things sort themselves out, and thank you for coming on this Sunday morning.
Thank you very much, John.